Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles, and today it's the return of a regular contributor. This is Crusty once again. This time he's in a battleship, a Scharnhorst to be exact. And I don't really do battleship replays too often. Well, I don't do battleship replays too often for a good reason. At least I think it's a good reason. Battleships are kind of slow. Generally. Obviously there are exceptions. The Scharnhorst is an exception. And battleships' guns don't fire very often, generally. There are exceptions, and the Scharnhorst is an exception. And battleships tend to, well, miss a lot when they're firing. But there are, actually no, there aren't any exceptions. All battleships have lousy accuracy. If you're a World of Tanks player, for example, and you come to a game like World of Warships, and you look at the accuracy, or lack of it, of the main guns of not just battleships but cruisers and to a lesser degree destroyers as well, you must be thinking to yourself, how the heck can you ever make that work? Well, it's not like World of Tanks where you only have one gun, and if your gun was as inaccurate in World of Tanks as they are in World of Warships, okay, you might have a point. But, well, the Scharnhorst, for example, has got 9 of them. It's a case of throw enough shit at the wall and some of it's going to stick. And if you're in a destroyer firing every 3 or 4 seconds, or a cruiser firing every 8 or 9 seconds, yeah, that, generally speaking, is probably going to make for an interesting and exciting battle to watch. But if you're in a battleship firing every 20, 30 seconds, yeah, it can be a bit like watching paint dry. Watching a battleship replay tends to make for a different kind of battle. There's a lot more time to appreciate the finer tactical nuances of what's going on. A lot more time to appreciate the finer tactical nuances of what's going on. Generally speaking, if you're watching a destroyer replay, for example, an American or a Soviet destroyer, and they're getting engaged in a close-range gunfight and dodging torpedoes, it can at times be a bit like watching a World of Tanks replay, fast and furious action. If you're having fast and furious action in a battleship in World of Warships, something's gone seriously wrong. It's almost like watching artillery go shotgunning in a World of Tanks battle. Generally speaking, for an artillery replay to be interesting to watch, something has to go badly wrong for the artillery player. And it's a bit like that in a battleship. Well, it's a bit like that in most battleships. But the Scharnhorst is not like most battleships. Is it a battleship, or is it a battle cruiser? Well, you could argue both. Here in World of Warships, it's a battleship, because there are no battle cruisers in World of Warships. But it's not really like most of the other battleships. It's fast for a start. And its guns are only 11-inch, 280mm, which means it gets to fire every 20 seconds. And if your first salvo at that Koenig was a little disappointing, and the first salvo was, you don't have to wait too long to have another go. The second one was better, wasn't great. He's not getting any citadels, despite the fact that he's got pretty much the flat side of that ship to shoot at. But a fair number of these shots are striking home. The range isn't too bad. And, well, that was kind of disappointing. And that's the thing about the Scharnhorst's guns. They fire quickly, but they're not too good at penetrating armour, especially at long range, and definitely if the opponent is angled. By the end of this battle, Crusty is going to have fired 297 armour-piercing shells from these 11-inch guns. 95 of them are going to hit. Some are going to hit the superstructure and over-penetrate, some are going to hit the belt armour and just fail to penetrate entirely. But, well, that's what it's like in the Scharnhorst. Throw enough shit at the wall, a fair amount of it's going to stick, and the Scharnhorst, with a 20-second reload and 9 11-inch guns, can throw an awful lot of shit at the wall. Next target, Gneisenau, and he's got the side of the ship to shoot at. Fingers crossed. Let's see how many of them hit and how much damage they do. The Gneisenau is turning away, but that's still not bad. That's a good solid amount of damage. Meanwhile, he's got a Congo, much, much closer. And the Congo's a lot like the Scharnhorst. It's really a battle cruiser that's been upgunned and up-armoured. And the side armour of the Congo is not very good at all. The range is short, and that is incredibly disappointing. Only 2,000 damage. Still, he's going to get another go because the Congo is being forced to maintain that course, side on, because of the torpedo attack from directly ahead. So, let's have another shot. And no citadels, but much, much better. He doesn't quite have a shot with the torpedoes, and the Congo's guns are pointing this way. Secondaries are opening up. He's taken a big old hit there, but the Congo is surely doomed. He's burning, he's flooding, and yes, Mutsuki claimed the kill, sank the Congo with flooding caused by the torpedo attack. So, next target. Game's going quite well. They've only lost one destroyer, and they've sank 3 enemy ships. He's going for that Gneisenau again, who is probably going to be nice and broadside on as he clears the side of this island, and he is. He's got all 3 turrets ready to go. Looking good. 5,380. And that's about right for a salvo from the Scharnhorst. More than that, and you have to start scoring citadels. However, do you remember when I said, generally speaking, Battleship replays aren't that interesting unless something's gone seriously wrong? Crustay's overextended. Look at the number of ships that are shooting at him. And a destroyer. And now he has to turn away. And that's going to expose the side of his ship to all of these guys shooting at him. Luckily for Crustay, he's turned at the right time. And even more luckily for Crustay, the guys shooting at him are terrible shots. I mean, look at this. Yep, he anticipated the torpedo launch from the destroyer that was spotted at the last second. He's now smoking up on the other side of the map. Torpedoes have all missed. He hasn't... There we go. That's the first shell that actually hit him as he executed that turn to port to get away from all 7 or 8 of these enemy ships. To be completely fair to Crustay, he did make a large amount of his own luck there. He didn't just pull a broad turn to port, he also adjusted his speed. He slowed right down, and now he's speeding right up again. So these course and speed changes, combined with the terrible accuracy of, look at that, of the people shooting at him, is what saved his bacon here. There's another torpedo launch, but that shouldn't be too difficult to avoid, and it looks like he's going to get out of there. Armour piercing loader taking a shot at that destroyer, and it's, well, it's a hit. I mean, of course it's going to be an over-penetration when you're firing 11-inch guns at a destroyer. But the guns were loaded, he had nothing else to shoot at. He certainly didn't lose anything by taking the shot. And it may have only been 750 damage, but damage is damage. Now, he's managed to, well, at least retire to a reasonably safe distance and get some solid cover between himself and all those bad guys. And hopefully they're going to start shooting at somebody else for a change, like that Wyoming over there, who has been complaining since the start of the game about the matchmaking. Wyoming is a Tier 4 battleship, and this is a Tier 7 game. Unfortunately, it's the Wyoming's fault, because he's platooned up with a Tier 5 battleship. That Koenig over there. In the meantime, shots out against the Texas, and he is rewarded with the single best salvo that he's scored so far. The Texas, however, rakes his superstructure with armour piercing, knocks out one of his gun turrets, and does a fair amount of damage in return, which is kind of disappointing, considering that he was almost bow on to the Texas when he took that shot. And it looks like the Texas is turning around to disengage. He doesn't want to take a broadside salvo from the Scharnhorst again. Or the Koenig, who also did a substantial amount of damage to him as he was in the turn there. Now the Texas is not presenting a particularly nice angle for the Scharnhorst's 11-inch guns. Crustay, on the other hand, is presenting a nice big target to the Texas's rear batteries, and they're going to be reloaded. Yep, here it comes. This might hurt. That did hurt. I don't think it was a citadel, but there was a couple of good solid armour-piercing hits there. And at that kind of angle, with the Scharnhorst's guns, it's pretty much just a waste of time shooting at the Texas, unless you can hit the superstructure, but you're only going to do a couple of thousand damage. In the meantime, he spotted a Minakaze. At 8.6 kilometres, there may be torpedoes on the way. He doesn't fire at the Minakaze because he would have had to give him too much lead to be able to hit him before the Minakaze sneaked into concealment around the side of the island. Instead, there's a very angry-looking smokescreen right there that appears to be armed. Maybe there's a destroyer in there. He looks for the source of the gunfire and scatters the general area with some shots from the 11-inch guns. He doesn't hit anything, but I've seen people sink destroyers by firing at the source of the gunfire from the destroyer, who's sitting thinking he's safe inside his smokescreen, knows he's undetected, and assumes nobody can hit him. Didn't get him this time, but, well, on the bright side, he's firing at the Koenig now. And oh, there's the Miyoko. Now this guy took a big pasting at the beginning of the battle, and he's done well to disengage and look after his health so far. But Crustay's got a shot, and this looks... Well, on the plus side, it's his first Citadel. On the downside, it's an 11-inch gun Citadel, so it's only 7,600 damage. Any other battleship would have sunk the Myoko, but he managed to get the two forward turrets pointing at him. Here it comes. And one penetrating armor-piercing hit, which left the Myoko on just under 1,000 health. And once again, if that had been an armor-penetrating hit from any other battleship, the Myoko would have been dead. But it's not any other battleship, it's the Scharnhorst. So the Myoko gets away. Choice of two targets here. He doesn't go for the Gneisenau. Instead, he's determined to get this Atlanta. And again, not bad damage for the Scharnhorst. See, that's the thing about the Scharnhorst. It tends not to do the big knockout damaging hits that people associate with battleships. It's more of the death of 1,000 cuts. The trick with the Scharnhorst is to keep the guns firing and keep the armour angled to minimise the return damage. Shots out again at the Atlanta, and again, a couple of penetrating hits, around about 3,000 damage, 750 damage there from the over-penetration. So he's done about 10,000 damage to the Atlanta, which isn't bad. The Atlanta only has 27,500 health, but once again, not enough, and the Atlanta's managed to get away. Shots out against the Gneisenau at the last possible moment there, who disappears, but does hit him, and earns the Confederate Award. Now, the Gneisenau did have 46,000 health, so he's probably, with 2 hits, done about 5. Yep, there we go. Gneisenau's down to 41,000 health. Crustay spots a smokescreen, but it's not an angry smokescreen. It's not shooting at him. So what destroyers are up on the enemy team? Let's take a quick look. Oh, yeah. That'll be the Minakaze. If the smokescreen is not shooting at you, it's a Japanese smokescreen. Oh, there's the Myoko. Oh, wait. The smokescreen is shooting. We'll come back to that in a second. He's managed to get a rear turret firing at the Myoko. It would be nice if he could kill him, because I think he deserves the kill, but no. They missed. Now, contrary to popular belief, Japanese destroyers do have guns, and that smokescreen is firing 4 shots around about every 9 seconds. That is the Minakaze. But that smokescreen hasn't fired for a while. The Minakaze is making a run on the Wyoming, who is waiting for him, and lands a good solid hit on him, which allows Crustay to finish him off and claim his first kill of the game with an over-penetration that was just enough to finish the Minakaze off. Of course, everybody now starts shooting at the poor old Tier 4 Wyoming. One of the destroyers has been spotted shooting at the Wyoming. Crustay lines up for a shot at the Texas, shots out, second enemy destroyer spotted. Wyoming hauling ass as fast as he can to get out of there. Bliskovitcher comes in on 13 health. Very narrowly avoids killing himself by riding right into the side of Crustay's ship. He was so desperate to get some shots against those enemy destroyers. And that's when Crustay sees the Myoko again. Now, it's only going to take 1 hit. So he throws some lead down range. And the Myoko disappears at the last second, but it doesn't matter. 1 hit was all he needed. He actually got a bounce there, by the way. Against the side of a Myoko. No, I don't understand it either. Shots out at the Mayhan. Mayhan's disappeared. But the plus side of having 11-inch guns as opposed to 15 or 16-inch guns, which you'd expect of a battleship of this tier, is that sometimes you can get penetrations on destroyers. So that's one very, very unhappy Mayhan. However, Crustay is once again in a far from ideal situation. He's got a Mayhan lobbing shells at him from the smokescreen. He's got the Gneisenau over there. He's got a Texas right in front of him, and an Atlanta. Now he wants to keep the bows of the ship pointing towards the Texas and pile some speed on, so the Gneisenau isn't able to get around the side of the island and shoot him in the flank. He's going to have to take it on the chin from the Mayhan, and yep, the Mayhan set him on fire. There's the Atlanta. We really need that Atlanta dead. Can somebody please sink him? Anybody? Crustay's going to have a go. Nope, not quite. There's the torpedoes from the Mayhan. You know what? 2 can play at that game. Selects a wide spread. Scharnhorst also has torpedoes, and once again starts looking for the source of the gunfire and puts some shots down range. He's not going to waste these 11-inch gun batteries at the front of a Texas. Instead, he tries to flush the Mayhan out of cover. His anti-aircraft guns are going to get a bit of a workout against that spotter aircraft. And now he's got the side of the Texas. He's going to have a go. The Texas is returning fire. Texas hit. And that was not bad. That was not bad at all. Again, no citadels, but all of them penetrated. And that's about the best that you can reasonably expect when you're firing at another battleship in the Scharnhorst. Damage situation, not too bad. Texas, I don't know if you've seen the torpedoes or not, but he's turning. He's got to sink him now. He has. There we go. Good. Right. Texas return fire. Misses completely. He's going to be able to repair that damage before too long. The fire is out. 3 enemy ships remaining. 1 destroyer, 1 cruiser, 1 battleship. The cruiser, however, is the Atlanta, and it's on perilously low health. Not a particularly great threat, but that Gneisenau still has a lot of health left and has substantially bigger guns than the Scharnhorst. The Gneisenau is actually fitted with the guns. Oh, there's the Atlanta. There you can see the Gneisenau still has a lot of health. Don't forget there's a Mayhan around there as well. The Gneisenau actually has the guns the Scharnhorst was due to be upgraded with, but was never actually fitted. The Gneisenau did actually have its 11-inch guns removed and made into artillery emplacements, but the 380mm guns were never fitted. So the Gneisenau here in World of Warships is a bit of a what if. The Atlanta is down. The Bliskovitcher got him. That was a brave move, going up against an Atlanta in a destroyer with only 13 health. But he spotted the Mayhan, shots out, armor piercing of course, and again, penetrations. Avoids the Mayhan's torpedoes, but don't forget the Mayhan has a spare torpedo launcher. It can fire 8 from one side and 4 from the other, so there are going to be more torpedoes. The Mayhan is now in range of his secondary gun batteries, and they are scoring hits. He gets his own torpedoes away against the Gneisenau. Leaves the Mayhan to the secondaries. There's the second set of torpedoes. Threads the needle between them. Easily avoids them. Guns out against the Gneisenau. He's never going to get a better shot at him than that. The secondaries take care of the Mayhan. There's the close quarters expert. Can he get the double strike? Can he kill the Gneisenau fast enough? The torpedoes are going to hit. Shots out with the guns. He's got him. And there's the Kraken Unleashed award. 5 kills. Sadly, not the double strike. That would have been a hell of an ending, but he just couldn't quite finish the Gneisenau off fast enough. I suspect, however, that he's probably not complaining about it too much. He did earn nearly 700,000 credits, 8,000 experience, did almost 150,000 damage, got the Confederate close quarters expert Kraken Unleashed, and sneaked a high caliber in there as well without anybody noticing. Not bad at all. And that is the Scharnhorst. It's the battleship for people that don't really like battleships, because it's not really a battleship. It's more of a battle cruiser, which in fact is exactly what it was, but there are no battle cruisers in World of Warships. They get lumped in the battleship line, which is going to make things very interesting when it comes to the British battleship line. I suspect we're going to see some battle cruisers like the Hood and the Invincible tucked in there, but, well, that's just speculation for now, although the smart money says you can probably expect to see ships a lot like the Scharnhorst appearing in the British battleship line whenever we eventually get to see it. But that was Crustade in the Scharnhorst. Wow, an exciting battleship replay. Wonders will never cease. Thanks for sending that one in, Crustade, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.